Your screen is not sharing again. There we go. Okay. Hello. Welcome all to today's Counselor Affinity call. I see we have a few of you on today. Welcome, welcome. Okay. We're going to get started because it's 1:30. So welcome to today's Affinity call on the scholarship plug, connecting students with scholarships. As you all know, I am your host, Laverne Handfield, Programs Coordinator with the Florida College Access Network. We have a great featured speaker joining us today. I am very, very thrilled to welcome Shetley Cassius. Shetley is a Brace Advisor in Broward County at Northeast High School, and she's dedicated to helping students and families understand that college is attainable, despite the stigma around affordability. She encourages students to apply to as many scholarships through the 70 scholarship plug, now up to the 100 scholarship challenge. Her program brings awareness to students about available scholarships, student programs, jobs, test information, important deadlines, and community events, career tips, and so much more. She does this through social media, community workshops, her YouTube channel. She's also written a book. All these things she will dive into more today. And a little over a year old, her program, the Scholarship Plug, has garnered major support from students, families, and the community. Shetley was also recognized as a 2019 College Ready Florida Innovator at the past FCAN Summit. So Shetley, we thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Before we dive into today's presentation, a few housekeeping items. If you're familiar with FCAN's webinars, usually all participants are muted, but because of the format today, we'd like you all to share some strategies on how you're connecting students to scholarships and engaging students and families through this process. I'll be going over those additional ways to participate later in the webinar. We will allot time at the end for any questions, but you can submit them at any time, and I encourage you to do so. You can use the questions and/or chat features in the box, which you should see on the right side of your screen if you are viewing from a desktop computer. If you'd like to share what you're learning today on any of your social media platforms, you can find us on Twitter at FL College Access and Shetley at Scholarships USA. As with all your programs, please use the hashtags FCAN or hashtag CollegeReadyFL. Finally, this call is being recorded. All materials will be available within a week of the recording. We don't have any handouts today, so we just have the slides. If you weren't on the previous call or haven't seen the recording, I would just very briefly like to go over what these affinity calls will be. It's a time specifically for counselors to come together to share with each other. Florida is a fairly large state, so aside from conferences that only happen about once a year, you may only get to see and hear what schools are doing through newsletters and email blasts, and hearing someone else talk about their program could spark an idea in you to add a new feature to an existing program or implement something completely new. So the intention of these calls is threefold: to create a space for you to share your best practices for programs around FCAN's College Ready Florida initiatives in conjunction with the email blast that I send, to highlight the great work you're doing in preparing your students for college and career like today, and to provide resources from local and state partners. We hope to have some school counselors like yourselves as featured speakers on future calls, as well as LCANs on how they can provide support for you if one is in your region or your county. If there are topics you'd like FCAN to highlight in future affinity calls, please make sure to fill out the post-webinar survey and let us know. If you are familiar with FCAN's suite of College Ready Florida initiatives, you are aware of the Florida Fafsa Challenge. Although the goal of the challenge is to increase the number of high school seniors completing the Fafsa, it's also an opportunity for students to know how much financial aid they receive to go on to college, which includes grants, loans, work studies, and scholarships. The overall aim is to help students access money for college. And for those of you who are wondering, the FCAN FAFSA dashboard will be updated later this week, so you can check your school's progress toward reaching your 5% goal. And just really quickly, someone asked for us to share our website. It is floridacollegeaccess.org. So on the last Affinity call about FAFSA errors with Pete Hernandez from the Florida Department of Education, we discussed some reasons that counselors see students not filing the FAFSA. Attendees were able to select more than one option for this question, and all of the attendees selected that families don't think they'd qualify for financial aid. The other highest common reasons were students and parents being undocumented and parents not wanting to provide information to the government. If you attended FCAN's last webinar, you heard about the State of Jobs Conference. This conference is held annually in partnership with CareerSource Suncoast on the West Coast and CareerSource Research Coast on the East Coast. And it's an opportunity for students to discover and explore high-demand careers. During their conference this past fall, a survey was administered to students asking them about their post-high school plans, their thoughts on their careers, and their social-emotional learning. Questions included when they started thinking about post-high school plans, the number of jobs they think they'd have as adults, their confidence about achieving their post-high school plans, and feelings of anxiety or depression when thinking about high school plans. The West Coast Conference targeted students in 10th grade, and the East Coast Conference targeted students in 11th and 12th grade. So one question on the survey was what might keep students from filling out the FAFSA. Only 4% of 11th and 12th graders said their parents won't provide their information. And 4% also said that they didn't think it was necessary. These are students that may still need assistance on finding money for college, but an average of 35% of all students responded that they didn't even know what the FAFSA was. The highest spike was on the West Coast, where their target audience was 10th graders. But the 22% on the East Coast also selected that they didn't know what the FAFSA was, which, a reminder again, were those 11th and 12th graders. 27% stated that they felt overwhelmed by the whole experience of preparing for college, and this was the average across the board for both coasts. So I have a poll question for you all. Thinking about your own school and/or district, when do you begin preparing students for the college going process, specifically information on paying for college? Is it elementary school, middle school, in 9th and 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade? At what point in the student's school journey are you proposing this information of these are possible avenues for paying for college? Oh wow, we're okay. I see 50% right now is at between 9th and 10th grade. In elementary school as well. That's very interesting. Okay, because there's a few of you today, I believe that this might be all the response that we get. So give it a couple more seconds. Okay. So I will share those results with you all. You can see that 60% said in 9th and 10th grade. We actually had someone say in elementary school. So I'm very interested in hearing from you on how you're presenting that information to the students and families of elementary school students. And someone did say as well in 11th grade. So thank you all for participating. Another question I'd like to highlight from the conference's report is how students anticipate that they'll pay for college. This is actually very surprising to us here. As you can see, the biggest spike across the board on both coasts was scholarships, with an average of 57% having the notion that scholarships will cover their college costs or their costs of whatever post-secondary plans that they have. Looking at the data from the East Coast, which again is that 11th and 12th grade, a total of 21% of students stated that they thought family support or student savings would pay for it. And still, 36% of students on the East Coast selected that they hadn't even started thinking about how they pay for their post-high school plans. So back to back, another poll question for you all. How are you sharing scholarships with students? Seeing that from that report, 57% of students think that scholarships will cover their costs for, college. Is it through bulletin boards, morning announcements, social media or text alerts, newsletters, one-on-one with students? So fire away. You can select any and all that apply to how you distribute information to students on scholarships. A lot through social media and text alerts and bulletin boards. Yes, and one-on-one, which is great. Newsletters as well. Give you all a few more seconds. Okay. So like I said, the majority of you selected bulletin board, social media, and text alerts, one-on-one. Although I did combine them, I am intrigued to see if most use social media or text alerts. So that was interesting. Very few of you use morning announcements. Okay, that's very interesting. And so Teresa says that she has a Google sheet that lists all the current scholarships available. So I assume, Teresa, that you use that and you share it out with the students and they can come and get the application and everything from you. Thank you all again for participating. So right now we will hand it over to Shedley, who will, take it away and tell you more about the scholarship plug.
Thank you, Laverne. I really appreciate this. And as I pull up my screen for everybody to see, let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, you can? Okay, good. Welcome, everybody. And as I start my scholarship plug, welcome. This is Ms. Cassius checking into the scholarship plug. Thank you, thank you, thank you for spending your the 1 hour of your afternoon with me and the FCAN team. So as Ms. Laverne said, and let me move this. Oh, can you see my screen still? Okay. As Laverne said, I am the producer of the scholarship plug. So it was very interesting and a great segue into what I'm going to speak about because I share on social media. Like it's my primary method of sharing scholarships is social media. And I'm going to tell you why soon. And as Ms. Laverne said, my name is Shedley Cassius Pointer and the producer of the scholarship plug. And today we're going to talk about engaging students, families, and your community to buy into your program. Topics that we're going to cover: the scholarship plug, the 100 scholarship challenge that I've created, how to get started, leading social media platforms because we have to do the research, creating relevance, and how to drive your village. Now, as I mentioned, I'm on all social medias. I mean, at least the leading ones, okay? So Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you don't know about TikTok, we're going to talk about TikTok. Snapchat. I mean, I invite students to take this challenge. The challenge, which is available on all the social medias. Here are the different logos, just so that you're familiar. And I even have WhatsApp. So those that are on actually have my number saved, they'll get and have the WhatsApp app downloaded on their phone. Trust me, they're getting my scholarships as well on WhatsApp. Okay, so here are my contacts. Here are my links. If you want to follow me, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, these are all it. So generally, scholarship money for students, and then the scholarship plug on YouTube. Then I'm going to go to the next one. And I actually promote it this way. I have this card, and this is what I put on the back so that they have, at all times, they have access to all the links. Okay, so let's talk about the challenge. So I've been doing this I've been a college advisor. We're called Brace Advisors here in Broward County for 13 years. Before that, I worked in financial aid at a college. So I've been in this world for almost 15 years. So based off of my research, or my experience, for every 10 scholarships, you're most likely going to get one. This challenge actually came from one of my students who, and I'm going to make this short. One of my students had every intention of going to a particular school here in Florida, but her parents, she lived in a single family home, and her mom was very clear. You can't go to college if you don't get scholarships. And she was serious because she knew her mother was struggling to even pay bills to stay where they were. So my student, which her name is Sabrina, and she knows that I'm sharing this information. She gave me her permission because I've been promoting her for years. And she literally, from junior year, was in my office and requesting scholarships after scholarships after scholarships. So long story short, senior year, I'm like, Sabrina, how many scholarships have you been doing? She said, Miss Cassius, I'm going to say about 70. I said, wow. Needless to say, this student is literally getting paid to go to school. She's at school now, and she has more than enough money to cover not only her 4 years, but also some of her master's degree, okay, her graduate studies. Okay, so that's what she set the bar for me and my students. So after my encounter with Sabrina, I started the 70 Scholarship Challenge. After putting that out there, I mean, not a huge push, but a little push, people picked up on it, students picked up on it. 70 scholarships was good. Then I received a suggestion, why not make it 100? Everybody wants 100 of everything. 100 equals A's, 100 equals, you want 100 of everything. You want 100% of a pie. Do you want only 70%? 70% equals like a D or C. Some cases, it's not even passing. So I moved it up to 100 scholarships. So hence, right now we have the 100 Scholarship Challenge because for every 10 scholarships students complete, they may get one. Because it's they have this impression that if they apply to one, it's all about that one. I applied to one scholarship and I think I'm going to get it. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of work. And as you can see from the poll that we just took, majority of the the data that we just shared, majority of students expect to get scholarships. But guess what? We have to give them the information that it just doesn't work that way. You have to apply. You have to have a target. You have to work at it. It's like another part-time job to work at this scholarship system. And now we have the 100 Scholarship Challenge, and many, many, many students are signing up to take it, which is very good. Even if they don't reach 100, they at least have a goal to take the challenge. So in the challenge, I provide, which is going to start in March. The challenge is now, but I'm really getting active in it because of all the good responses that I'm getting. So I'm giving them the monthly scholarship bulletin. I'm directing them to Naviance because here in Broward County, we have the college portal called Naviance, and we put all of our scholarships in there. So this is just another way to encourage them to do these scholarships and refer to Naviance, which we have available for them. I give them a letter of participation, motivational communication, because, a lot of our students, particularly mine, they don't have their first generation and they don't know what to do. Parents don't know what to do. The scholarships, yes, we keep saying, apply for scholarships. Some of them don't even know how. So I try to communicate different tips, not long drawn out tips, because we all know if we get a lot of emails, it just goes in one ear and out the other. They don't even read it. So just plugging different motivational communication to keep them going. At the end of the challenge, they get a certificate of completion, and I'm working on different sponsors to donate, a good gift for those that complete the challenge. I don't have the gift yet, so I don't know yet. I'm working on it. Okay, so as far as you, and I mean, what I'm doing is not only exclusive to me, although you can refer them to the scholarship plug if social media is not your thing. I don't mind because I do post for all the entire country. But which it didn't start out that way. It started off with my students, and then it's grown to the whole world now. So, but please refer them to the scholarship plug. However, this can be done. You can do this for your school. This can be done for your county. This can be done for your state. I mean, this is a tool, a free tool that we use where our kids are on anyway. So I did a little bit of research. Where are our kids? So my kids, I also do presentations throughout the county and throughout the state. So I've learned that not every student population uses the same platform. So you have to know where your kids are. Some of them don't even use social media. So that's why I have the link of what I do post on YouTube, because everybody's on YouTube, and on the website. So first things first, where are your kids? You have to check and be in tune with where your students are. The top social media sites are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Pinterest, Reddit, and YouTube. So I picked a few of these that I'm pretty much familiar with to export or to promote the scholarships that we have. On the other end, parents. The social media platforms that I use are also for parents, because I know, as much as anybody else of you, all the counselors here, we can't do this alone. Me as a parent, I know how it feels to have a student that's going to school for free. I know what it feels like to have a student, a child, getting paid to go to school. So why not them? So find out where your parents are. Your parents are not on the same platforms as your students. So that's another set of research that you have to conduct, even if it's a survey that you can give out, but be in tune as to where your parents are, because they may not be on the same platform as your students. My parents, they're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They just happen to be on Instagram as well. Based off of this survey or this data here from Pew Research Center, most adults are on YouTube, which is why I have a YouTube channel. Facebook, they're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. We have to make it work. We have to be able to engage as to where the students are. The way also, the story that I like to tell is, one day I had a scholarship program contact me and said that they had $1,000 that they wanted to give out, and they needed an answer right away because the deadlines are coming up and they haven't received one application. So I sent the message out to my students, thinking that they're all going to rush in here to my office. What? The bell rang. I'm expecting all these students, and they're trickling in, and they're not even asking me about what I text them. I'm like, wait a minute. Did you guys get my text? Well, I did see it, but I didn't open it. Oh, really? So where are you? What are you looking at? Because you're on your phone. I take the phone from the student, and guess what? They're on Instagram. Okay, so hence the birth of the Scholarship Plug. So they are engaging on the social media thing. Some of us are saying that the social media is bad, but if we make it a good, positive thing and we utilize it for our benefit to share the information, it could be a very good thing. As a matter of fact, I have students that are following just the Scholarship Plug just for the scholarships and nothing else, because they want to shut down their Instagram. They want to shut down their, they go through this break where they want to do a social media fast. Oh, that's the other thing. Some of them want to do a fast. So it's important to have outlets and platforms on all different apps. Okay, so where are your parents? Where are your students? Very important, crucial information to know so that this campaign or this project is successful. Those are my kids, by the way. That's my son and that's my daughter. Yes, they support the Scholarship Plug. Okay, so let's say you want to start this social media platform. You want to start and you're excited to push this information out. You have a platform already, but are you getting engagement? Are students following? Do they even want to follow it? You have to create relevant information. You have to post in a way for them to even be excited about it. Okay, I know this is something they should have already, or they should be motivated to do already, but it's not the same as a few years ago. Yes, there's scholarship opportunities, but the attention, the engagement is not the same. So you have to learn your audience's attention, like what grabs their attention. For me, I know I have this strong voice, I have this loud voice, I like to make jokes, so that's what I do on my platform, okay, which grabs their attention. So the bottom line is, are you creating information that's relevant? Yes, you post the scholarships, but what else? What else? Information about state universities, private universities. Make it inclusive to everyone, because not everybody's going to the same post-secondary option. They're not all going towards the same option. So I like to make it inclusive for everyone. So there's scholarships for technical schools. Even if you don't want to go to, if you're not ready to start school yet, you're not ready to start a program right after school, guess what? There's apprenticeship programs. Guess what? I post jobs on there. Anywhere I am and I see that there's a job opening, I'm posting. I'm telling those students, get your money up. Whatever you need to do, get your job, get involved. Whatever scholarship opportunities, whatever community service opportunities, jobs, anything to do with the enrichment of a student, if you continue and you are persistent and you are consistent, you'll grab their attention some way, because not every post is going to hit that particular student. But if you continue to post and you put different things from different aspects of this post-secondary the post-secondary options, you'll hit somebody. And then that person reposts, and then they repost, and then it becomes viral, and now you have their attention. So don't worry about the engagement up front. Just worry about the relevance in your audience. My audience may not be, and I'm giving an example, although I post for everyone, but yours, I'm speaking of anybody that's creating it for their school or their particular audience, their particular student and parent group. Just keep going. Keep going. Eventually, it will go viral, and people will know. Students will know. If you can't find Miss Cassius in her office, trust me, you can find her offline. If you can't find Miss Cassius here or there, if you don't know the information, guess what? The information is on social media, which will always be there, okay? Because students are not always, and I'm going to use an example for myself as well. If we keep emailing them, if we can keep engaging in the same medium, they tune out. It's just like a parent saying the same thing over and over again. It goes in one ear and out the other sometimes. But if another medium comes into the picture saying the same thing, they may listen and bite on it, and then take it and run with it. Okay, so it's a matter of creating audience relevance. The bottom line is earning money. Anything relating to earning money, believe me, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college, if you mention money, everybody's hand is going up. Now it's a matter of how you're going to post about it. What's relevant to earning money to pay for school, okay? Which is where I come in with the jobs, the test scores, the different scholarship programs that are available. You being in the state of Florida, there are some applications that are non-negotiable. If you're not applying for Bright Futures, that is unacceptable, whether you think you're going to get it or not. So here and there, I'm plugging Bright Futures. I'm plugging the Florida application for aid. I'm changing the language. Okay, so for some reason, Fafsa goes in one ear and out the other sometimes. Okay, here's the application for Florida students. Here's the application for Broward students. I'm just changing the language. So again, it's about your audience. You're creating relevance to your audience, survey your audience, and being consistent with it. Okay? Now, lastly, We're using a platform that reaches everybody. However, you can't do it alone. This slide or this section is about the I in village. It takes you being I, but you're gonna have to have your team to make this platform work. Yes, it can go viral as you are consistent and posting, but to make it more effective and the buy-in from all your peers and colleagues, you have to bring them into your program. So, for example, there is no way my scholarship plug would be this successful without the people that are in the community that have the buy-in, my counselor friends, my teachers. I mean, you have to be able to engage them and involve them in order for this to grow. I had one of my students who is now a millionaire, and I talk about her all the time. She says, Miss Cassius, you always told me to work smarter. Why aren't you working smarter? Work smarter. Correct. Take your village. Identify who is in your village, the teachers that support you. Let them know about your social media platforms. Let them know about your means of communication so that the language is constantly going in their classroom, in the community, and then even as influencers, even student leaders. I don't know what I would do without my student leaders. We have the Brace Cadets. They support the scholarship plug. The student leaders at the school, SGA presidents, MTL presidents. I mean, like those that have the following, you have to get their buy-in so that they can respect your time, your program, and your initiative. So getting everyone around you, which is your village, I call it your village, the I in village, you have to make this inclusive to them as well so that this program can work, because you can be spinning your wheels, not understanding why it's not growing. Well, there's no I in village, or there's an I in village, but you need everything else. You need the other letters. I don't know. I haven't quite mastered that message, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So teachers, student group leaders, community leaders, administration, parents, media, influencers, and just the fact that you're going above and beyond to meet them where they are, that alone gets their attention. Okay? So now it's a matter of grabbing it. So if everybody has the same language going on around in the school, in the community, it will work because it worked for me. Okay? So I hope that information helped. Remember your why. We're trying to get our students to get paid to go to school. Scholarships don't come natural. It's going to take hard work, but we have to be able to support them because they don't always know how. So we keep encouraging them to do this, do that, do your FAFSA, do this. They may not know how. So just remember that this, and I've come to the realization that it's the age of repetition. Just be comfortable with repeating yourself. We will be repeating ourselves for this generation. I don't know why, but you're going to have to keep repeating yourself until they get it. Okay? So your why and your will. So it takes a little bit of time, but I promise if you put the time in up front, it will help your life of promoting these scholarships and programs or whatever initiative you have going on easier later. So remember, we change lives. Let's use the platforms that are available to us for free to change those lives, and we will make things happen. Thank you. For more information, you can follow me on all social media. I'm everywhere. I have a book called The Scholarship Plug, and it's available on all different platforms. You can reach me because I'm everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Shedley, very, very much for your presentation. And right now, everyone, we will be getting into questions. I would like to pose one to the group first. One of the initiatives passed in House Bill 7071 this past year was for school districts to encourage schools to declare an academic scholarship signing day, similar to the Florida College Decision Day. This academic scholarship signing day is to recognize the outstanding achievement of high school seniors accepting academic scholarships. Some schools, such as Robert E. Lee High in Duval County, shown on this slide, merge this concept with their college decision day celebrations. And in this photo, students revealed the total earned scholarship award for the class of 2019. So just probing a question to the group of how are you or how do you plan to celebrate students' scholarship achievements, possibly this upcoming year, in the future? How do you plan to sort of merge both concepts? So getting into questions, we'll take questions from you all. If you have any questions, please submit them in the questions box to your right if you're viewing from a desktop computer. And if anyone would verbally like to share any strategies that they have to connect students with scholarships or how they're celebrating students' scholarship achievements, you can use the raise your hand feature on the dashboard, and I will unmute you and call on you, and you can verbally share. So to get started, Shedley, Charity would like to know, is the challenge just for seniors?
No, as a matter of fact, good point. I should add that in the slide. I'm so sorry. No, scholarships start, from elementary school, because I promote scholarships even for fourth graders. I have a fourth grader. So any scholarship that I'm having him do, I post. So no, actually, I encourage students to start as early as possible because scholarships technically start from fourth grade. And of course, you'll have more options as you get older. You know, in middle school, as soon as you start earning high school credits, you have more options. But no, the challenge starts as early as possible, as early as they can. And they can have their parents sign up as well on their behalf.
Correct me if I'm wrong, some scholarships that you promote, it's just a matter of looking for the requirement as to which school level it applies to, correct?
Absolutely. And especially when they're younger, you know, I'll throw a little bit of some emojis in there. I'll throw something funny, like, really? Fourth grade? I bet you guys wish you would have applied for this in fourth grade. This is $1,000, you know, like I'll make it fun and funny. So I'll even have those students that have little brothers and sisters to have them do it, you know? So it just creates a new culture. Definitely the younger, the better. The younger them, and they're willing to do it, because when I do presentations at elementary school, you should see how excited they are, even if they don't know what it means. How many of you want a scholarship? All hands go up. How many of you want to go to college? All hands go up. So it's just a matter of teaching them and you know, creating that culture. So no, elementary school, that as early as they want. Thank you.
Noting that you don't limit it to, you know, age or school level, do you also possibly, I don't know if you do answer the question, work with college students as well with helping them find scholarships for, you know, their continuing education?
For sure, but it's not like a one-on-one thing, you know, it's not like I help directly, it's just whatever I receive, I post. Now it's to a point where the scholarship programs will send me a message or send me a flyer to talk about and post. So after I kind of screen them, because a lot of, you know, there are some that are scams and they just want to collect information. There are some that are, you know, they do that, but then they do offer the scholarships. I've witnessed them actually giving a scholarship, then I'll post that. So yeah, so no, college students for sure. It's just not a one-on-one thing. I just post based off of the requirements. Same thing, they have to just read the requirements. And usually for those, I'll post college alert, college students, you know, graduate students, going to medical school. I post it, I have no limit. Money is money for school.
And seeing that you've identified the different social media platforms that students are on and that parents are on, how are you engaging, how do you build up your engagement with students and your followings on those platforms with students, and how do you get your pages in front of parents for them to engage as well?
Well, I have a little bit of an advantage because I go around and do presentations at the local libraries for free. And I've been doing it for so long. And hi, everybody, just in case you haven't seen me, I turned on my webcam. But I've built a reputation to just help. You know, so before the scholarship plug even existed, I've always been in the community with the parents. So they followed me on Facebook, my Facebook. They follow me in my email group, and I also have a Remind app. So they're following me on that. So as long as I'm letting them know, so I just have that advantage where parents are already aware, kind of, and then they share, That word of mouth is like key, you know, very profound when you're referring by word of mouth. So that's where I came from. So, but if it's somebody new, to get them engaged, I would say at the parent night, at financial aid night, open house, have your little cards, because I have my cards. Where is it? I have my cards and it just says need scholarships. That gets attention automatically. Okay, need help with college, whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable with, present your position at the school. During open house is the best time because that's when 9th, 10th grade parents, most of them show up. You know, have your cards, have your program in the counselor offices, in the clinic, in the front office when they're signing in late. You know, it's just everywhere. It's also branding. It's a lot of branding that I do and plugging, just because I believe in language and presence and promotion. So if they see it enough, you'll grab their attention. So that's what I've been doing. So
okay,
I hope I answered your question.
You did. How do you help students who are taking on the challenge to track their progress towards the challenge, or just in general of how many scholarships they're applying to, their login information for these scholarships? Do you have any tools to help them track their progress?
Not yet, but right now it's self-tracking. So I do have a tracker that I created with a Word document, nothing elegant or fabulous or anything like that. I just created a tracker for them to put their scholarship goals, which is usually the cost of attendance times 4. So I usually tell them, what's your cost of attendance for whatever school you want to go to? If it's 50,000, we need to do 50,000 times 4. So that's your goal. You need 200,000 in scholarship money. How many are you going to do that equal or are over 200,000? So they have a tracker, they enter the scholarships that they're doing, they have the deadline and a little bit of a section for notes. So they download that, they enter, they keep track of the scholarships that they're doing on their own, and then at the end they would submit it to me for me to assess. But not yet. I'm looking for a grant for that because that stuff is expensive.
Shedley, this is Kathy from AFCAN. A quick question, because I get this from community foundations a lot, who often offer scholarships through their community foundations. They're often looking to figure out a way to better track the outcomes. So not just did students get scholarships and get into college, but did they succeed in college? Did they graduate? Did they get a good job? I don't know if this has been around long enough to really know, are your students finishing college and moving on to a great job? And if so, how are you finding them?
No, that's definitely something I'm going to take note of. This is fairly new. I did not expect it to blow up like it did. I literally, I use my student's example, or I use my student as the benchmark, and I just promoted it. And I didn't realize that it would be so big. Again, this was just for my school. And then when I put it online, it blew up. My district is supporting me. It's crazy. And I'm happy because now they're more, although some are not doing them, even if they're like, oh, I'm going to apply. It's just the mentality that, okay, I need to do something. But no, this is a baby, literally, that's looks big, but in the back it's like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So those are all great suggestions, but all those things cost money. So I have a few people that really want to, support it, and hopefully I can work it out where, they can fund maybe some system that I can purchase so that I can have those tools. But that is a great tool. But we do have a system called Naviance here that does that. But as a whole, for the state and the whole country, yes, that would be amazing if we could do that. That would be a dream come true, so that we can have a tracking of, where the students are actually going. So thank you for that, but not yet. I'm working on it.
Thank you, Shelly. And to the group again, if anyone has questions, you can submit them in the questions box. To your right, if you want to share a strategy for how you are connecting students and families with scholarships, raise your hand and I can unmute you and call you on you, and you can share that strategy. Shedley, as you say, very often, time and time again on the webinar, that all of this stuff costs money. It also costs you your time. So
right.
We know that counselors are spread thin. So how are you able to handle all of, the scholarship plug work during your school day?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I really don't. Okay, well, honestly, I like social media anyway. So I like the platform. I like that it allows me to extend what I have to offer times 100, So I'm intrigued by it, and it allows me to learn what my students like. So I'm just a social media geek like that. So you really don't have time. I don't have time. I'm only one for 1,600 students, but it goes back to the will, where there's a will, you find a way. And as you go on, you could tell me something right now and it'll take me 2 minutes. So now I'm not as slow like I used to be, that takes me hours to do, but it does take a huge chunk of time. But, right now I'm at a point where I'm on accountability. It's an accountability thing, because now students are like, what about this? What about this? Or are you posting today? Like right now, if you go on my social media right now, I'm 3 days old from the last time I posted was Saturday. So now I'm getting blown up. Like, are you posting today? I'm like, guys, I do have life. But, there's accountability. So I'm like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. So, it's really about making time. You have to make time. It's better to, allot a certain amount of time every day or every other day, or even if you do it once a week. It's not even about how much you post. It's when you post and being consistent with it. So even if you decide to do it once a week, those students, those parents, believe it or not, they are waiting for that post. Okay, so after a while, and you're consistent, and your energy is there, they're waiting on you. So it's like an accountability thing for me. I just make time.
Yeah, thank you. And one thing that I really wanted to mention from the question that I posed to the group before, of recognizing students' academic scholarships that they achieve. How do you recognize students making strides in, towards meeting the challenge?
Okay, well, what I do here is I do make announcements. So I guess not everybody has the same access, but here I'm so grateful that, they let me do some of the announcements. So when we have students that win scholarships, they get accepted. Like, I have a loud voice anyway, so I'm like, congratulations to the following students for earning this following scholarship. Like, I get excited about these things, so I'll go on the announcement and do it in the morning. And so that's one way. The other way is we have a senior awards night, so we recognize them there. We also do an academic signing day where we recognize what school they're going to and how much scholarship they receive. So they all look forward to that. So that's how we pretty much celebrate them winning scholarship money.
Okay, And I believe on the earlier slides, I mentioned from the State of Jobs Conference, their report of how many students just feel overwhelmed by the process of planning for their life after high school. And, we're adding on the challenge of applying to 100 scholarships. How do you help students reduce their feeling of being overwhelmed during this process of looking for the 100 scholarships?
Right. I know. And that is such a fact because, after doing this for 13 years here, I definitely feel that. And like I tell my colleagues, like I'm so in tune with what's going on with my students. When they come in August, I feel the energy. I feel the tones. I know there's a lot going on. So now it's a lot of social, emotional counseling that you're giving almost before you can even introduce it. But it's about reassuring them. That's why I have the motivational communication piece. Like, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. That's normal. So now what you're going through is a process that you're going through. There is an end. There's hundreds of students that have gone through it. You can do it too. So it's constantly keeping them motivated. This is what you can do, because a lot of students, especially in my population, their first generation got a lot going on. Some are undocumented. There's a lot going on. Parents, and this is why I like to talk to parents, because you want them to do all these things, but whatever stress is going on in your home, they're taking it on, and it's affecting their planning for college. But yet they have the pressure of doing scholarships, applying for college, and figuring out where they want to go. It's a lot going on, but this is kind of like a motivator so that you can do it. You can get paid. Relieve yourselves by putting in the work now so that you can breathe later. Put in the work now to get paid, to go to school, so that later you can enjoy you don't have to stress so much about your college expenses and incur all these loans and all this debt, So it's just communication. It's about letting them know that there is a way you can do this, because if you don't earn the money that you need, or if you don't complete the FAFSA, like, let's look at the how much you're really going to make. How much are you really making by not doing these scholarships? How much are you not making when you're not completing the FAFSA? So it's almost like you're weeding out the negative before you shine on the positive. You know what I mean? So, and they look at it, and it works for me. It works for my students. So it's filling out your students. Everybody's different, but it is true. Classes 2020 has a lot of weight on them. For some reason, it's progressive. I don't know. They have a lot of weight on them. So it's about being reassuring, giving examples. That's why I have to do it through my kids. Like, okay, this is what's going on. Who is in your circle? Build your circle before you do this process. Like, who is your plug? I'm one of them. Your counselor should be another. If your parents don't understand the process, let's have a meeting. Let's talk. It's about education, and educating them on the process and what needs to be done. A lot of them will get paid to go to school because they're going to community college and getting full financial aid, but they don't know that until they see it. So it's consistency, it's repetition, and a one-on-one counseling too. So it's a mixture of a lot of different things.
Okay, thank you.
Or they take on this challenge. So, but in all, they're excited. Usually they're excited to take on the challenge.
Okay. Someone wants to know, when and where do you do your seminars? I believe they possibly mean, workshops that you conduct.
Okay, so I do them at the different libraries here in my area. I'm working on going up, so any Palm Beach, Dade, the libraries there, I'm trying to talk to them to acquire these programs so that it's available to the community. And believe it or not, of course, we're not going to have availability for everyone, but the fact that it's available means a lot. The fact that, you know, the libraries or the communities are taking on these projects for everyone means a lot. It's about it, and it's branding. It's really branding. Scholarship workshops, scholarship. It's a mental thing for them. It's like it's psychological, you know. So I'm trying to work my way out of Broward County too. So far right now, it's been going on for a long time, so I'm able to bring in other brace advisors, other counselors to run the workshop so that I can go in other areas. But primarily, it's through the free Broward County libraries.
Okay,
Long story short.
Sorry,
I talked so much.
You're okay. You are okay. Someone was very interested. They would love to have you at their school, give a presentation here, and we can connect you with them. Also, if anyone wants to connect with Shedley, her contact information and her social media are on the screen, so you can find her again. Those are all the platforms that the Scholarship Plug is on.
Yes.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, which amazes me as to what you're doing on TikTok.
Oh yeah, we were going to do a video today, but I ran out of time. I was passing out SAT booklets because the test is coming up. But yeah, you can find me anywhere. Connect with me. Ask me anything. Yes. I most likely have the answer. If not, I'll find somebody with the answer. So contact me anytime.
Yes, and we thank you very, very much, Shedley, for joining us on the call and presenting. And thank you to everyone who joined and participated. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.